Hey guys, it's Lotus and welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to continue on with our read-along of Guardian. Let's jump right into it. Chapter 47. Chu Shizhi doesn't talk to Go Chang-chung much, but in the few times they've come in contact, he always managed to show off his skill. He has left an indelible impression in Go Chang-chung's young heart. Go Chang-chung finds the chief remarkable too, but he's usually friendlier, and his jokes and pranks give him a more down-to-earth vibe. He's at most like a father or big brother, no matter how powerful he may be. There's nothing mysterious about him. Chu Shizhi is different. Chu Ge is totally an otherworldly sage to be admired from afar. As taught in the online code of conduct for the newcomer at work, Go Chang-chung carries a small notebook with him. He follows Chu Shizhi eagerly, not daring to say a word, just jotting down notes on everything he sees. As the two enter the hospital, they see a young policeman waiting at the door. They show him their ID and they all walk into the ward together. The one leading them inside is called Xiao Wang, and he tells them while they're walking, "Our chief of police is inside too. He just talked to Chief Zhao on the phone. This incident is particularly severe. The victim's family called the police to report someone maliciously selling poisonous food. The victim is in there, but so far, the doctors haven't been able to figure out what kind of poison it is." Chu Shizhi asks, "Food poisoning? What kind of food?" "Fruit," Xiao Wang says. "The victim got off work late last night and didn't have time for dinner. According to his family, he ate an orange he bought from a street vendor. After eating it, he passed out immediately, and they sent him to the hospital. I've heard of poisoned water or processed food with harmful additives, but never poisoned fruit." As he speaks, he pushes open the door to the patient's room, and someone gives an earth-shattering scream. Go Chang-chung jumps up in fear and, standing on tiptoe, peeks into the room from behind Chu Shizhi. A man in his late 30s is lying on the bed, struggling uncontrollably as doctors and nurses hold him in place. There's a crying woman in the room as well, probably a family member. The man on the bed clutches a doctor's hand, almost tearing off his skin, howling and raving, "My legs! My legs are broken! My legs! Ah!" He's wailing and screeching, the blue veins on his neck standing out. "Help! Help me! My legs are broken! It's so painful! Help! It hurts!" "Legs?" Chu Shizhi asked Xiao Wang. "Didn't you say it's food poisoning? What happened to his legs?" "Nothing," Xiao Wang says. "Not even a bruise. They scanned his legs and found nothing. That's why we're clueless." Chu Shizhi walks forward and pats the nurse on the shoulder, signaling her to move aside. He lifts up the man's eyelids and studies his irises. Then he examines the back of his ears, mutters something, and makes a snatching motion with his hand. At last, he makes a fist and thumps the man's solar plexus hard. The man suddenly stops struggling. Chu Shizhi asks, "Still painful now?" The man catches his breath and looks at him gratefully, shaking his head. The doctors and nurses around them all stare at him as if he were a member of some evil cult. Chu Shizhi heartlessly pulls back his fist, and without a care for the resumed screaming behind him, turns to Go Chang-chung. "We're done here. Let's head back and write the report." Go Chang-chung is speechless. Their job is done just like that? What just happened? What did Chu Shizhi do? What did he figure out? Okay, now we're back to Shunwei. Okay, let's see what he's been up to. Shunwei's elective course is in the evening. Watching the last batch of students leave, he packs his bag and goes back to his human world apartment. On the way, he keeps checking his phone, as if he's really concerned about the time. His phone has mere 3 functions: phone calls, messaging, and telling the time. He's never played the games that came with it. Shunwei doesn't like this gadget. He finds writing a letter more convenient. If it's urgent, you can write a quick note. If it's not, you can take your time and write a longer one. Unlike phone calls, which are charged by the hour. Whenever he thinks of that, he feels like someone is watching him talk on the phone, and it makes him very uncomfortable. So the Demon Slayer has a phobia of technology. Good to know. And opening a letter is a process marked with joyful anticipation, especially when the sender is someone special. Their handwriting alone can trigger the deepest longing, and their letters can be kept in a collection for a long time. So Shunwei is a romantic. That's why he prefers letters over phone calls and texts. It's a pity that Zhao Yunlan never writes letters. Even though Even when he's signing for a delivery package, he finds his name too long and just scribbles an illegible Zhao. The Ghost Slayer gets verbal messages from the messenger puppet. Shenwei is bombarded with instant messages. The cold fonts of the messages look no different from those sent by the telecom company to notify him of his account balance. Though Shenwei never deleted any of them, he has never quite gotten used to them. But now there's nothing for him to get used to anymore. Ever since they came back from the mountains, Zhao Yulan hasn't disturbed him again. Perhaps this is for the best, Shenwei thinks. A normal human lifespan is only a few dozen years. To him, that's like snapping his fingers. Men die like burnt-out candles, and afterwards, everything they did in their lives becomes meaningless. When that time comes, Zhao Yulan will forget all about him once again. Shenwei enters his bedroom, pushing open the door that he always keeps locked. As it opens, the lights turn on automatically. In the room, there's no bed, no table, and no chair, only a cluster of portraits on the wall. From the frames, one can see that they're aged, and they're all images of one man. Front, profile, back view. The pictures are arranged chronologically, as seen from his clothes, which change through dynasties and periods, and yet it's always the same person. Even the most detailed expression in his eyebrows is portrayed scrupulously, and it never changes throughout the centuries. After the ancient paintings come big and small photographs, some of his teenage years, others of his older years, smiling, frowning, chit-chatting, and fooling around. There's even one in which a cat pounces onto his head, and he's tilting his neck and yelling. Shenwei has a room full of Zhao Yulan's portraits from different time periods. Zhao Yulan, I don't know how Zhao Yulan would feel about that. I think he'd be flattered, creeped out but flattered, because it's from Shenwei. But, Shenwei confirmed stalker? All or Zhao Yulan. It's always been just him. Shenwei understands that there are some things only he has to know. Only he has to remember. When the time is up, he'll also disappear, alone. Better if no one notices. After all, his very existence is a mistake. Until then, the only thing Shenwei can indulge in is stealthily watching Zhao Yulan without him noticing. He can sneak into his apartment late at night, but that man is very alert, so he can't stay for long. Luckily, Zhao Yulan has been to a lot of dinner gatherings lately, and he usually arrives home half drunk. Only then can Shenwei walk just a little closer. Coming without a sound, leaving without a sound. Shenwei is a stalker confirmed, guys! He breaks into Zhao Yulan's apartment late at night when he is sleeping and just watches over him. He has tons of photographs and paintings of him in a secret room that he keeps locked so that no one can find out. Yeah. So, I don't know, guys. What do you think? How do you think Zhao Yulan will respond to this? Let's see if we find out soon enough. Shenwei's look lingers fondly on the wall full of paintings and photographs. Then he disappears in a cloud of black mist. He speeds down the road to the underworld. Beside the Bridge of Forgetfulness, the judge is presiding over a crowd of underworld retainers, including Black Ghost and White Ghost, as well as Oxhead and Horseface, and they're all waiting for the Ghost Slayer. The judge is a pale-faced and plump middle-aged man. He wears a kind expression. As he sees Shenwei, he's all smiles and excessive politeness. "Your Honor, the 10 kings of the underworld are expecting you." In this desolate land full of whales, next to the Bridge of Forgetfulness, Shenwei's delicate eyebrows appear a bit cold. He nods towards the underworld retainers, and without looking up, he says politely, "Thank you very much." Watching his expression carefully, the judge says, "Last time we sent the Guardian the Book of Life and Death, that was truly a mistake on our part. It almost revealed your identity, and we're incredibly sorry, Your Honor." It's kind of too late for that. Zhao Yulan, the Guardian, has already found out Shenwei's identity. A little too late. Shenwei just looks at him, so utterly calm that the judge is dripping cold sweat. He's like, "You know where you messed up. You know that you know that you messed up. You put me in a really tight spot there." He starts groveling at once. But everything regarding Lord Kunlun has been wiped away. I can guarantee nothing remains, not even the tiniest clue. The Guardian is now amongst the living, and as long as the ghost face doesn't tattle, he won't find out anything. Besides, the Guardian is so noble and benevolent, a filthy being like the ghost face wouldn't dare awaken him. Awaken him? Shenwei laughs softly in an unspoken derision, but he doesn't say anything. There's nothing good to be said. The judge barks a dry laugh and wipes his sweaty brow with his sleeve. He too feels that blatantly sending Zhao Yulan the Book of Life and Death was an idiotic move on the part of the underworld. But what can he do about it? It's not like he calls the shots here. There are 10 big deities above him. The big guys even ordered him to secretly find out what the Ghost Slayer thinks, which side he's on, and if he can be swayed from his position. Although the Ghost Slayer rarely speaks, and his unfailingly polite manner makes him seem like a pushover, things are crystal clear in his mind. Nobody is stupid here. The old judge really doesn't want to find out how fast the Ghost Slayer's blade is. He is not to be trifled with. Besides, if that big god were really awakened, would he then agree to be on their side? When he was banished all those years ago, wasn't it because he rebelled against the order of things? Ooh, okay. End of chapter 47. So to recap, Xu Shizhi and Go Changcheng are sent by Zhao Yulan to the hospital to check out a case. There's this guy who doesn't have any visible injuries, but he's in severe pain. And so the doctors can't figure it out because, of course, it's related to the underworld. It's supernatural related. I don't know exactly what Xu Shizhi did, but he kind of solar plex punched the victim and then caused the pain to go away. So whatever he did, it worked. And so now they're going to go and report back to Zhao Yulan. And then we switch perspectives and we're following Shen Wei. And it's been a while since we've heard from him. He is feeling really sad, really melancholic. After Zhao Yulan found out that he was the demon slayer, the ghost slayer, he's been avoiding him, not really reaching out to him, not flirting with him, and Shen Wei is feeling deprived. He's feeling withdrawals right now. But of course, he kind of, he accepts it. He has his room full of secret candid pictures of Zhao Yulan from different eras, and, he sneaks in late at night when Zhao Yulan is sleeping, passed out from being drunk, and watches over him. So he still does see him, just without Zhao Yulan's knowledge. So Shen Wei is a stalker. I would even argue that he's a little bit of a hentai, maybe, perhaps, because it's a little extreme. I guess you could say he's really devoted. He has a deep devotion and love for one person for like hundreds of years. So, I mean, I guess props to him, but also in real life, do not do that. That's really creepy and would make the person on the receiving end really uncomfortable. Please do not do what Shen Wei does. Okay, but yeah, so he has some underworld business to take care of. He reports to the underworld, and he's kind of mad because he's like, which one of you let Zhao Yulan find out about my identity? I'm really cross right now. Yeah, he's taking care of business. Now, they're worried about awakening someone. I'm assuming they're referring to Lord Kunlun, who has a connection to Zhao Yulan. Now, do they want to awaken him or do they not, and why? And again, we hear about Ghostface. Now, what is he up to? Why would Ghostface want to awaken Lord Kunlun? How does he benefit from that? Let's keep reading the next chapter and see if we find out more information. Chapter 48. After we've investigated a case in the field, we need to write a report. I type slowly, so you do it. Xu Shizhi pours a cup of tea and leisurely leans back in his chair. Type what I say. Go Changcheng immediately sits upright in front of the computer, as if he has to take care of a huge task. The people of the SIU are all gone. The only ones left are floating ghosts. In the darkness, only one light shines in criminal investigations, like a lighthouse shining across the ocean at night. The two haven't been sitting there long, when someone knocks on the door. Xu Shizhi tells them to enter, and a big steaming tray comes flying in. Upon a closer look, the tray isn't flying on its own. It's carried by a headless person, hidden behind the big tray. There are 2 sets of utensils on the tray, 4 dishes, a pot of soup, and 2 bowls of rice. The headless ghost gently floats into the room and carefully places the food on the table. He takes out a bag of cat food out of nowhere and fills up Da Qing's cat bowl. Da Qing sits with elegant composure and nods subtly. Thank you. It would be splendid if you could offer your king some concentrated milk as well. Some TV shows ought to include a warning. Mentally challenged children and fat cats must be accompanied by an adult. The headless ghost floats towards the fridge and takes out a bottle of milk, pouring a bowl for Da Qing the Great. Go Changcheng has gotten used to the environment, in number 4 Bright Avenue. He has come to think that humans and ghosts aren't that different. Some ghosts are kind-hearted, like this headless fellow who brings people meals whenever they have to work overtime. When Go Chang-chung left the post office the day before, he had only a single banknote of 20 yuan left, so this helpful ghost really makes him feel the warmth of spring. I'm glad that he's getting used to the people around here. He's not as spooked as he was before. He's really starting to fit in. After their meal, Chu Shizhi slowly sips his hot tea and tells Go Chang-chung, "Here's the gist of it. As for the format, find some old reports and adjust your own to fit. That guy wasn't poisoned. He was cursed by ghosts. As in resentment. The victim suffered some pain in his lower limbs, so the ghost likely died of physical injury. The victim's forehead was darkened, eyes reddened, the line of karma beneath his eyelids wasn't deep, and the black mark of virtue behind his ear was very light. He's probably not directly related to the ghost who laid the curse on him and didn't deserve it. On the face of it, that ghost is breaking laws." So it was a ghost's curse that was hurting that victim. Go Chang-chung's eyes widen and he lets his hands flop down onto the keyboard. He can't keep up and doesn't understand what Chu Shizhi is saying at all. Chu Shizhi sighs, stretching his legs. He turns around and asks the anxious dimwit, "All right, what do you not understand?" What's the line of karma?" Da-ching raises his head from the milk, showing the white mustache that was formed on his black fur. He ignores the stain and says furiously, "What's up with Zhao Yulan? He spends his days indulging in lust and greed. Does he ever have time for important business? Has there ever been a training session for the newcomer? Why does this kid not know dog crap?" Chu Shizhi can't let a cat badmouth the chief, so he says, "Chief Zhao has been busy with the renovation lately. Once it's settled, we'll move to a private chateau with a big garden, and you can have a big cat house up in a tree with a view of the bird nests." The bossy cat pauses, and his anger subsides a little. After a while, for the sake of his big tree house with a bird nest view, he twitches and offhandedly explains to Go Chang-chung, "The line of karma is just that. It's karma. It's causality. Let's say a murderer comes in here and killed you for no reason. Then there's no karma and no line of karma. If a murderer comes in here and you're blocking his way and he stabs you to death, that barely counts as karma, since you were in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that's just fate. The resulting line would be very light and could be wiped off easily. If a murderer comes in here because he found out you were sleeping with his wife and killed you out of wrath, the line of karma on you still wouldn't be very deep, but it also could not be wiped off. You weren't innocent, but didn't deserve to be killed for your offense either. His actions were disproportionate to the cause. If a murderer comes in..." Having been murdered several times already, Go Chang-chung can't help but continue. And he realizes I'm his enemy? The one he wants revenge on? And he stabs me to death? Then the line of karma would be deeper? Da-ching cocks his head. There's hope for the kid yet. Go Chang-chung then asks, Then what's the mark of virtue?" Chu Shizhi takes over again. "Whether a person has done good or bad deeds, there will be a mark behind their ears. For example, if a person kills someone, even if the police don't catch him and nobody ever finds out, the crime itself will leave a black mark behind his ear. That's the mark of virtue. In the old days, people called this damaging the yin. As for those with good virtue," Chu Shizhi looks at Go Chang-chung, and he can see a white mark behind Go Chang-chung's ear, like a ray of light shining gently. However, the glow isn't visible to everyone. Even those with the third eye must concentrate hard to see it. Go Chang-chung seems to be in deep thought. "Does the black mark look like a dirty fingerprint?" Chu Shizhi is startled. "You've seen one?" Go Chang-chung nods and tells them about how he almost ran someone over with his car the night before. Da-ching giggles. "A black mark so big that even a normal human can see it. That jerk will probably be electrocuted by the heavens very soon." Chu Shizhi explains as he sees Go Chang-chung's puzzled expression. "A human's mark of virtue isn't visible to the naked eye, so the thing you met can't have been human. The reason why most cultivated shifters dare not harm humans is because of the mark of virtue. If the black mark gets too deep, they'll be punished by thunder and lightning, and that's no fun at all. Not only the punished shifter will be electrocuted, but nearby ones as well. And so every year when the shifters gather at their tribe's market before the new year, they monitor everybody's virtue to make sure none are crossing the line. They'd rather take care of the evildoers themselves before news of their crimes reaches the heavens." Go Chang-chung understands only partly. "Then, if a human does bad deeds, will the heavens also punish them by lightning strike?" "No." Da-ching wiggles his tail and jumps on the floor. He arches his back and curls up into a ball of fur next to the heater. Haven't you heard the saying, he who mends bridges goes blind, he who kills people has plenty of children? The human world has its own laws, and most people never get to reincarnate anyway. Life's so short, and men die like ants, long before karma can catch up to them, so accruing virtue really does a human no particular good. It might make them luckier, but not always. Look at you, for example. You have great virtue, but you're still an unlucky little cabbage. Go Chang-chung lost his parents, becoming an orphan when he was still young. On top of that, he was born untalented and timid. Though Zhao Yulan jokingly said that bringing him along as a mascot would bring them luck, it doesn't change the fact that Go Chang-chung has had quite a difficult life. Really? I have good virtue? Go Chang-chung is shocked to hear this. I have an unlucky life? Not really. I think my life has been quite good. It's just that I'm not very capable. He always feels like he's not very capable. Since he was little, all of his relatives pitied him and always gave him a lot. Now that he has grown up, he's still a little useless piece of work, but his uncle arranged such a well-paid job for him, and his chief and colleagues all take great care of him as well, even letting him stay when he adds no value to the team whatsoever. Isn't he kind of lucky? The black cat's drooping eyes open wide, and he looks at Go Chang-chung. His emerald eyes shine with a flash of golden light. But before he can give a speech, Zhao Yulan staggers in, bringing with him a gust of cold air and the stench of alcohol. He asks in a hoarse voice, "How's the report going?" Go Chang-chung is about to say something, but before he can, Zhao Yulan waves him off and staggers off into the bathroom, where he promptly vomits. Shu Shizhi and Go Chang-chung hurriedly follow. Da Qing snorts, sluggishly unfolds his fat paws from underneath his body, and pads forward with a swaying gait. Stupid human. The stupid human presses a hand to his stomach and leans against the wall, his face pale. Shu Shizhi pats him on the shoulder. How did you get so drunk? Then he turns to Go Chang-chung. Shao Go, get him some warm water. Once Zhao Yulan is done vomiting, he washes his mouth and stands up on wobbly feet. He laughs bitterly. Those bastards ganged up and forced me to drink. What could I have done? Shu Shizhi replies, That's BS. Who can force you if you don't want to drink? Zhao Yulan walks outside while holding onto the wall. I'm broken-hearted. Why can't I drown my sorrows in alcohol? Ouch, Professor Shun still doesn't want you? Teachers really do have good taste. The people approve. Savage Da Qing. Da Qing sidles up against his leg. Hey, it's almost New Year. That's not a good time for drunk driving. You wouldn't be so stupid, would you? You can land in jail for half a year. Zhao Yulan succinctly and bitterly tells the fatty to F off. He finds a chair and plops down. Sitting there, he looks as feeble as a dying dog. Shao Go. Go call Wang Zheng and tell her to bring the things for me to sign. Lao Chu, tell me what this case is about. Shu Shizhi briefly summarizes the uncomplicated incident, and Zhao Yulan thinks about it for a bit. How about you finish up the report tonight? I'll wait, and when it's done, I'll stamp it and fax it. Hopefully, we can get a reply by tomorrow. Shu Shizhi doesn't have a problem with that. After all, it's not like he's the one who just puked up his guts. When Wang Zheng comes downstairs, she first pours him a cup of honey water. Zhao Yulan doesn't even have the energy to look at the papers she brought him. Without opening his eyes, he gropes for a pen and signs a bunch of illegible symbols. He waves at the ghostly man behind Wang Zheng. No PDA in front of a lonely single man. F off! When Shu Shizhi and Go Chang-chung have finally finished up the preliminary report for Zhao Yulan to sign and stamp, he has already been sleeping on his desk for a long while. Da Qing wakes him up with a storm of mighty cat punches and asks, I forgot to ask, how's my super luxurious treehouse with the bird nest view going? Zhao Yulan says, only half conscious, Fatty, I'm going to kill you and eat your meat. Da Qing pounces his shoulder and roars into his ears. Meow! Jerk! Where's my luxurious cat house? Where's my luxurious cat house? Zhao Yulan stares at him blearily, then chugs down a cup of cooled water. He picks up the cat by his stumpy neck and throws him aside. He wipes his face and seems a little more awake. It's basically done. If it goes through fast, we can probably move by autumn next year. The black cat instantly drops his arrogant attitude and nudges his hand in flattery. Well, well, our chief is so capable. That nearby bird nest better have eggs in it. Zhao Yulan flicks his cat brain away and wipes his hands. Ugh, effing cat, he says coldly. Your fur is all over my hands. He doesn't wait for Da Qing to get mad, just quickly signs the report and gets up. I'm going then. Thanks for your work, guys. Shu Shizhi asks, Hey, wait, how did you get here? Taxi, I'll take another one back. Go Chang Chung kindly reminds him, it's really late and very cold outside. You might not be able to find a taxi. How about Ow! Chu Shizhi ruthlessly steps on his foot under the table before jumping up and pushing Zhao Yulan back down into his chair. He snatches Zhao Yulan's phone from his pocket like a thief. Professor Shun is probably on holiday. Let me call him to pick you up. Oh ho ho, Chu Shizhi? Wingman for Shunwei? Oh, really cool. Really nice of you, bro. Zhao Yulan stares at him. He's so weak, he doesn't even wonder who is getting a ride home. He's so weak, he doesn't even wonder who he's getting a ride home from. Zhao Yulan reaches up to grab his phone back, but Chu Shizhi easily steps aside and tells Go Chang Chung, hey, go hold him up in place. Look how drunk he is. Trust me, when he sees you in this condition, I don't believe Professor Shun will be able to resist you for much longer. Zhao Yulan is held in place by Go Chang Chung and Da Qing, the cat who just likes causing trouble. He even diligently sits on his stomach, almost suffocating their chief. Zhao Yulan pleads, don't, I'm begging you, I won't cause any trouble. Don't call him. Chu Shizhi raises his eyebrows, hearing Shunwei's voice on the phone. Yulan, what is it? He picks up instantly. Even a father might not be so attentive to his son's phone calls. Chu Shizhi gestures to Zhao Yulan. Chief Zhao, you're a badass. Why are you heartbroken? Chu Shizhi coughs. Oh, Professor Shun, it's me. Our chief drank a lot tonight. He's hugging everyone he sees. The office is in chaos, you see. Could I trouble you to come and pick him up? Zhao Yulan grabs a pencil holder and hurls it at Chu Shizhi's head. Chu Shizhi dodges and continues. No, nothing's wrong. It's just the drunk cat throwing things at me. Right. We'll keep an eye on him. Please come as soon as you can. It's number 4 Bright Avenue. 2nd floor, Criminal Investigations. See you. Zhao Yulan points at him. You guys! Da Qing swishes his tail. Yup, us guys. What are you gonna do about it, big stupid guy? Go Chang Chung is the most innocent accomplice, and under Chief Zhao's knife-sharp gaze, all he can do is learn from the ostriches and curl up into himself, shivering. Not long after, Shunwei arrives. He has barely finished knocking once when the door to the office is flung open and a body comes tumbling out. Shunwei catches it, and Zhao Yulan falls right into his embrace. Zhao Yulan can't even stand properly, but he still has a fighting spirit. He points at Chu Shizhi through the office door. You little fatty, just you wait! Chu Shizhi's usually bitter face suddenly wears a smile. Ooh, I'm scared to death. Shunwei doesn't know whether to laugh or cry. He pushes down Zhao Yulan's trembling hand. All right, settle down. Maybe Zhao Yulan really is drunk, or perhaps he's just embarrassed in front of Shunwei and uses Chu Shizhi to divert attention. Maybe not today, but I'll beat you, and then you won't know how many eyes the horse god has anymore. Then he struggles out of Shunwei's grip and tries to lurch forward. Shunwei sighs, nodding toward the people inside the office. Oh, thank you, I'll take care of him. He wraps his arm around Zhao Yulan's waist, the other hand grabbing Zhao Yulan's wrist, effectively stopping his quivering rant, and drags him off. Da Qing stays at the door, staring after the two, deep in thought. Suddenly he says, I'm sensing the peculiar vibe of a reverse couple. Our chief is such a slut. Could it be? Hey, Homo sapiens, what do you think? Is he a show? Is our chief the bottom in the relationship? Chu Shizhi kicks his fat butt away. Okay, well, I mean, Da Qing, his intuition is pretty spot on. Zhao Yulan, you're giving off some show vibes right now, especially in the presence of a domineering person like Professor Shun. Okay, so to recap chapter 48, we go back to see what Chu Shizhi and Go Chang Chung are doing. They're back at the office, and they are filing the report. And Da Qing is trying to explain what the mark of virtue is and everything like that. Go Chang Chung is learning the ropes of how to file a report and learning about how he actually has a lot of virtue despite being pretty unlucky in his life. But he's such a nice, optimistic person. He's so innocent, too innocent for this world, an actual cinnamon roll. So everyone better treat him right, okay? Do not bully Go Chang Chung too much. Xiao Go is trying his best. And then Chief Zhao staggers in. He was like late drinking with some other fellows, and so he is feeling sick. But he has work to do. So as the chief, he still has to sign reports and sign things, stamp things, and all that. But yeah, he comes in to take care of that, and then he's ready to go home. But he's out of his mind drunk. And so Chu Shizhi, our matchmaker, our wingman, decides to call Professor Shen to come pick Zhao Yulan up. And of course, he doesn't even wait to the first ring. Literally, Shen Wei picks up right away the moment he gets called. So you know he's been staring at his phone and waiting for Zhao Yulan to call him. Yeah, and he's like, he comes and picks him up. So I'm assuming in the following chapters, we'll kind of see some embarrassing, awkward interactions between Zhao Yulan and Shen Wei. They haven't had a proper conversation since the reveal of Shen Wei's identity. And so I wonder how their dynamic is going to change, because Zhao Yulan is still not over Shen Wei. He's talking about how his heart was broken, and Shen Wei is also really pining over Zhao Yulan. He's waiting for his call. He was literally just like, please call me, I will come to wherever you are. So these two need to just get a room and hash out the miscommunication between them, and we'll probably find that out in the next read-along. But yeah, until then, I hope you guys enjoyed today's read-along, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye! Bye-bye. Oh dear, did my mouse just die? Bye-bye.